People can be decorations.
People can be decorated.
They can be
Keep
props.
them decorated.
Not really like doing the whole AdCon thing. It's more of a Chief and his team. I had some ideas that I gave to him, but as far as like dressing people up and walking around the convention, I have no plans for that myself.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had the fighting demonstration planned out, but my group was very akin to trying to herd cats into commitments, and then life happens, and otherwise showed up. So I just want to see if there was any room for that at all still, or if that ship has sailed.
Well, you said that's a question for you, Shoot. In regards to AtCon activities that can push forward the theme. I didn't
But I
know
mean,
who was
if you're
worrying
just
about that actually.
walking around, wouldn't it be akin to performance art, and that's your own personal commitment?
Yeah, I mean,
to
people are
that?
obviously welcome to do that all they want.
Yeah.
Is it the kind of thing that it requires a room?
Well,
It's not on the schedule, or is it more of a?
the initial thought was to use the stage and have some time on that. But like I said, obviously it's quite late, and suddenly blink and it's a month to the concert. So, barring that, I just wanted to see if there was anything else that was possible we could help out with.
Well, we don't really have the staff or the staff that's interested in working on it does not want to work during the convention. They want to work before the convention.
Sure.
So any people that would be doing this during the convention itself would need to be acquired before we can actually proceed with something like that. So, but if you want to talk about it further, we can.
Sure.
Probably just after this meeting.
Yeah.
After this meeting is over.
The other thing was the clarification on the prop weapons. Did they ever come down and say anything about synthetic plastic swords, or?
Plastic swords should be okay as long as they don't look realistic.
Plastic swords are, they are fine as long as they don't look realistic, and they aren't drawn for any reason whatsoever, not even
So
posing.
like that.
Yeah, that should probably be okay.
It's
Just
rounded and don't, yeah.
do not draw it for any reason in a public area.
Right.
And if you do draw it in public space, it's only for posing, not for swinging or any sort of.
You mean if he draws it in convention space?
Yes.
You said public
Do you
space.
have any immediate
So public space is don't draw it, period. Convention space is draw it for photos only and then put it away. That's the determination we got from the hotel.
Good. You didn't run up here through the casino. That's fine.
I don't think I would have made it.
Yeah, security would take care of that.
Or I had to call
Try
and
right.
then the walk through, I would have been tackled at least 3 times.
One thing I want to kind of just point out real quick, we have talked about this a lot. I don't think it can be talked about enough because it's such a drastic change. If you have recruits in your department, we have a new system this year. We're calling it Tracker. It's basically you log in, you check in, check out, depending on when you start and stop your time. In the past, some departments would track their own recruit hours, some would send them to the volunteer desk. This time they all have to go to the volunteer desk. Sometimes depending on where the department is, it can be a hassle, but it's the best way we can make sure that everybody gets their perks that they've earned.
Is there going to be like a crash course for using the tracker system?
It's really, really intuitive. You log in using your registration ID, and you come up to a window that just says select department, check in. You come back, check out. And it shows how many hours you've earned right up to that second.
And how do you access? Is it just a web link or is it?
There'll be kiosks, the actual computers there at the volunteer desk.
Oh.
So they do it themselves?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
So it's self-service.
Volunteers, it'll be self-service check-in. You will not be able to use your phone or whatever. You will only be able to use the computer at the volunteer desk to check in and check out. And I believe we are tasking the volunteers with checking in and or we're testing the leads with reminding them to, but we're testing the leads, we're testing the volunteers themselves with checking in and checking out.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And are we still having a secondary kiosk in ops?
We were going to do, as far as I know, after hours, but a secondary kiosk all the time is a possibility. We need to look into that.
Okay. I'll get about that more later then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that system allows us to authorize any number of kiosks we want to authorize. It's
Yeah.
just we're only going to have a few in select places.
Yeah.
On that topic, it says one of the discussion topics is about signage. So do we have signage for the volunteer check-in to say like, hey, you have to check in here? That way we don't have to answer that question a million times a day.
Yes, we're going to have that.
And I think finally, you've got a form together for timesheet corrections, right? Just in case somebody misses it and they come on with a signed sheet from their lead saying these are the hours that they were here, please correct
Yes,
it.
in fact, it's really amazing in that regard. If you forget to check out, it will, the next time you check in on the next day, it will tell you, you did not check out. You've only been credited for 1 hour. Please fix this.
Right, okay, so
Um,
it also yells at them. That's
Yes,
good.
and what they'll do is, the lead will get a hold of us, or they'll reach out to the lead, and we can manually correct that easily.
Okay. We can.
Using this system, is there any way for leads to check on the hours accrued so far for the volunteers and staff?
Not really so much for leads. If you have like a question specifically, you can kind of reach out and we can check on a specific person, but there's no way for you to kind of like access it yourself to do that.
Big Brother's checking up on you.
One advantage of this I just wanted to point out, and that's why we went to electronic system, is we'd have to, at the end of the day, calculate everyone's hours, and then they could not get their meal vouchers until the next day. With this system, the moment you hit, say, 4-8 hours, you can walk right up and go, please give me my vouchers, and we can give them to you immediately.
Right.
So that is definitely a benefit.
It'd be nicer than that.
To explain to those who aren't familiar, the primary way that we're rewarding what we call recruits, those are the unproven, unknown volunteers. The primary way that we're rewarding them is with free food, and we want them to come pick up those vouchers and use them and pick them up as early as they're able and use them as early as they're able as soon as they're earned. And everybody likes free food.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it's a great way to incentivize that they actually eat.
That too.
Self-care is a good thing.
Because people are, yeah, it's true.
Tyson.
Says the person who forgot to eat an actual meal from Wednesday all the way to Sunday morning.
Are we doing it again the same way we did last year?
I forgot to actually eat a real meal and just kept eating snacks and forgetting that I needed to maybe eat real food.
I had extra meals, just.
Which is why I started getting really sick on Saturday night.
So everybody give your extra vouchers to Tycho.
You'll eat any.
Including the
I didn't
vouchers.
I didn't even have a good reason. I was just distracted and I was having so much fun that I forgot to eat. Like, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't, like, there was nothing on fire. I just forgot to eat because I was having too much fun.
That's actually kind of heartwarming.
So
That's our tag. Hey, are the vouchers working the same way they did last year?
they should work very similarly. You should be able to walk up to you should be able to just walk up and give them a voucher and get free food. Now, last year they decided to do it in a way that on paper makes sense and in practice was really terrible. And they're supposed to be changing that this year so that they only have to run one transaction per person instead of two.
Good.
That should hopefully speed things up, but that will also mean that the vouchers may change to be $6 instead of $12, because they may just cut all the prices in half on the entire snack bar all the time. And so your vouchers this year might be a different value than they were last year because we have to reflect that half off.
Okay.
And I still need to get with them and figure out, or we need to get with them and figure out, are they really going to do that? And is that communication going to get through, or is it going to get lost in the shuffle?
Definitely, I was gonna.
That's That's one of the many things on my list of things
We
to
have
ask the
to,
hotel.
you and I have to get together and come down and hammer stuff out.
And we might even be able to talk. We might even look at that document I have going right now, and right after the meeting is over, you and I could probably look at that document. If there's anything else that you've been wanting to ask that we've forgotten about, it would be a good time to add them. And then we'll schedule some big meeting with them and try to hash out all those questions.
Not all the other nonsense that has to go to them too, all the layouts and how we want the air walls set up and all that, but Shoot's already handled that. It's just an email and it's just a matter of me walking and making sure they've done it.
Yeah, and the goal is I think we're going to try to draw that up this weekend, right?
Is that gonna be?
I'd like to just help drawing it, but you're
Well,
way more
we're gonna
skilled
start
than I
loading
am.
stuff in.
Yeah.
By that time, the air walls
Yeah.
should be done. I mean, by Wednesday, definitely the Silver State Pavilion should be open for us to start bringing in stuff for.
As far as the hotel's responsibility of like setting furniture and stuff, I believe everything except the mezzanine is supposed to be handed over to us by Wednesday morning.
Does
If I
the,
remember right.
since we're talking, Cody, does the schedule of everything the hotel is going to do during the con exist yet? For
No.
us?
Not yet.
Nope, I'm kind of the middleman on that one.
Okay.
'Cause,
That's part of. Well, there's a document we'll have to put together.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely don't want to be surprised by the wine and cheese again.
Yep.
Yeah, that is not gonna, yeah, that's definitely,
Yeah.
once again, that's all part of the catering thing, but yes.
Pivoting a little bit before we lose sight of it. You did mention in the discussion topics if anyone wanted to mention something specific in opening and closing ceremonies.
Well, let's wait.
Okay.
Let's wait till we get there.
Okay.
I was still going through updates and reminders and any additional questions,
Okay.
and then we'll get to the discussion.
Okay.
So, any further questions regarding updates or reminders?
Just one thing, it's already on there, but I just want to say it so everyone, please, once as leads, once you make your schedules, please copy me, please, please, please. I get volunteers all the time who will come to the volunteer desk and they have absolutely no idea where to go or when they're scheduled. We want to make this as seamless as possible for them instead of having to wrestle you down and go, hey, well, who is, this is your person, what's going on?
Okay. Okay, so with that, I'm going to move on to the first discussion topic, which is giving each of the leads in the room an opportunity to provide any updates that they have. I'll start over there on that end with you, Emma.
I'm currently figuring out all the people that will be working in the department. I've got about 3 to 5 that say they're not going to be able to do it. So when I get confirmation from them, I'll be talking to Levi and figuring out the rest of that. But I also need to know when we're going to be able to come in with all our stuff and load and load out. But I'm waiting on that schedule from H&K when he's got that available for those days. So I'm waiting on a few things, but I'll be getting with you in the near future, I hope.
Okay. Okay. Next up, Wakami.
Basically, panels are all scheduled. I don't know what Regs needs for volunteers at all. He hasn't told me. That's pretty much it.
Okay. I have a couple of small updates for your department. I've reached out to the tabletop gaming folks from SnafuCon who are coming, and I've also reached out to video gaming to put together schedules of what tournaments they want to run, that we can get those on the schedule as well, because we haven't gone to print with the schedule yet, so whatever more we can squeeze on there while we still can, I'd like to get on there.
Okay.
We may still have some additions at con, but that's okay. We just want to try and get whatever we can on the paper schedule.
Well, then with tabletop gaming, are we wanting to double book events in that room? 'Cause it's
That would be
really
okay.
big.
Yeah, double
Okay,
booking
so I'll
events and
double check, 'cause
tabletop gaming would
We've
be
got
safe.
like all the different poker tournaments and stuff going in there at different days, so I want to make sure.
And I would even say if video gaming double books events, that you're doing that intentionally, right? It's
Yeah.
like you can run 2 tournaments at the
Yeah.
same time.
Correct.
So
Okay.
there may be double bookings there too.
We have it listed a certain way so that it can fit on a schedule.
Okay. Okay. I have some questions for you guys too when we get there, but let's move on. Cody.
So far, just kind of in a waiting pattern for.
Mainly you and I need to sit
That's
down.
it, it's just, we're just gonna get to the point now where we're actually, gonna start doing layout and what we need to do. As it is, pretty much everything else is just a matter of what's gonna be handled in load and load out, but that's,
Laying out both furniture and time.
yeah. Schedules, yeah, and it's like, and making sure it gets to them and gets done.
Okay. And actually, this is good. We already have an event schedule, and I think this is earlier than we've ever had it before, so it's going to be easier to run through the entire event schedule and be like, okay, we're pretty sure that, you know, this is needed this time, this is needed this time. Like, I think we've already figured out when all the chair turns are going to happen in main stage, and that's going to make the hotel's job a lot easier. So, cool. I think I'm gonna try to spare some time after the meeting here, and I might send you one with Tony to get with you, and we'll hash out what we can.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna be setting out the schedule for the load-in times and all that this weekend, so I'll get that out to everybody.
Okay.
All the information they need. So.
All right. Alex, do you want to say anything regarding registration since the lead isn't here? You're the next most ranking person for registration. You probably have no idea what yours is doing.
The look
so.
on his face says yes.
Yeah.
Ask me this question.
Thank you for asking me. Remember that nightmare you had last night? It's happening now.
No,
Star Trek terminology.
I would assume. No, I think the only thing worth saying there is just like that the test party went pretty well a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, found lots of errors.
Well,
Things
good things to find now instead of at the con.
Yeah. I'm sure everything's going great.
All right, Beck. Art gallery, everything's hunky dory.
Oh, great, yeah. Do you have time after that we can look at the space? I'd like to count the air walls if possible.
Oh, the layout.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to know how many pieces of air wall you have.
Yes.
I don't know if the Nevada room is open right now, but we can check.
If it's not, we can guess by the length of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Art gallery is great. It's super full. It closes this Saturday. It doesn't need to be advertised. I'm so full. So should be good times.
And I see somebody finally made a buy it meow item too.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah,
I
there's
should get a
one.
whole nother table.
There's one.
Great.
If it's just one, you could probably mix it in with the rest of their pieces because the buy it meow tag is relatively distinct now.
Yeah.
But I'll leave that to your discretion. I figure if we had a lot of buy it meow items, it would have been nice to gather them all together because then it's like a shopping experience. It's here's all the things you can buy right now.
I think part of it is still the fear of the unknown, but I've had a lot of communication this year with all the participants, so I'm really looking forward to doing like an after action report with them and just being like, hey, what did you like? What didn't you like? How could I have made Buy It Meow better? So that'll be good.
Okay. Is Stoic in here?
Yeah.
There he is, hiding in the corner. Then I'll move on to Ed.
Sure. As you and I talked about, we've got our core team together for staff members for video gaming.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few people who have expressed interest, who have experience that I'm just here trying to hear back from.
Okay.
Seeing when they're available, what they can bring to the table, if they're interested in bringing gaming equipment,
Okay.
stuff that we don't have, to diversify things a little bit. We have our tournament schedule. We're going to give it one more kind of once over when we're done here, and then submit it to whoever it goes to. One other thing that we need to add to the schedule is any of you who are familiar with esports, the fighting game crew, very popular person, a very popular competitor in that community called Sonic Fox. He's
Gamer of the Year 20 years.
yeah, and he's a long-time attendee for BLFC. He did some stuff with us kind of impromptu last year, and he's interested in doing it again, so I'm just figuring out the time as well.
Okay, so he is running the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Cool.
he's, I think at this point, if you asked him, it's like a no-brainer.
Okay.
For him.
Well, just last I looked, he hadn't registered yet, so I have no idea if he was on.
Maybe he's just.
So.
I'll probably let him know. It's like, hey, if you haven't registered, you need to do that because it's kind of close. But yeah, once we get the layout started, we should be able to submit the layout to you.
Are you gonna be available this Saturday while Chip and I are working on trying to draw up the layout of the con spaces? Would you be able to join us for that? Or
How about tonight?
If you would like, I can.
Or tonight.
You be available?
Yeah, I'll be available.
Okay. That should work then.
Okay.
If he's not available.
Well, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to try and do it tonight, or do you want to do it tomorrow?
Tomorrow. I'll be doing them all tomorrow.
Okay, so do tomorrow with DJ then?
So what exactly are you doing?
Layout.
We still haven't finished like drawing the layout of like what furniture goes where in like all the convention spaces.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to get with Shoot on Saturday to do.
Okay.
Are you available?
Arcade is not.
I've got an Easter thing to go
Okay.
to tomorrow at my sister's place, but then I can always, after dinner, leave and come over at like 7 or so.
I think what we'll do is we'll try and hash it out because I'm pretty familiar with what the hotel can and can't do, and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
we'll run it by you.
we've
after, so.
we've already done the layouts before, so it shouldn't be all that much different.
Not too much. Okay, cool. Sorry.
So I think that was it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Arcade isn't here. They're doing a show right now. When they get back, they'll be able to tell me what their layouts look like.
Okay.
So
It looks like
I know where to put power.
since we decided to put you guys up on the Crystal Ballroom, you should have all of Monday to load out.
Fantastic.
So you should have all day Monday to load out. And
That's stressful.
you might have to share dock space with our main logistics truck, but I don't think we're going to have a huge amount up in the Grand Ballroom that's going to move out. So I want to say it's not going to be that bad.
It's a wide loading dock, so
Yeah.
it should be fine.
It's just a few racks.
That dock does have a weight limit though, so you probably can't have 2 trucks up there at a time. Because that dock is the ceiling for something else. And we really don't need trucks crashing through the ceiling of another room.
Let's not do that.
That'd be exciting.
That'd make us kind of unwelcome next year.
That they may not like it if we do that. Okay, I think Stoic is next.
Okay. Well, there's no real major problems for social media. Just usual questions people ask. Well, the only I did lose like a huge of my tweet listings for the podcast from a lost phone. So other than that, things are going smoothly.
Well, I think we can regenerate that for you, right?
Oh yeah, I could just do that myself. Yeah. Just I don't know, list it out and just back it up anywhere.
Oh, did you have stuff scheduled or?
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Also, side note, you and Wild, I would like to start over the next few months here after the con is over, and even kind of keep it in the back of your mind as the con is going on. Start thinking about the other people who might be good candidates for helping out in social media, because only 2 people doing it that's way too much work for just 2 people.
Yeah.
We really need to expand that department.
Yep.
So, I would like to have more people helping you out, so it's not just you 2.
Got it.
Pony, decorations.
Well, got probably good 50% of the things purchased. All the other things are just things that need to be printed. I was pushed to do more props this year, so I've got a couple. They're done, and I guess they should be a little step up from what we usually do. Like I just finished a character sheet board so that you can like fill in your stats and your name for like if just your fursuit can stand in front of it.
Okay.
So dry erase board that you can fill in, and hopefully more interactive stuff. But yeah, it's not completely done, but things are getting purchased and things are already made.
Okay. Cool. Hawk.
Well, Ops is holding most of my volunteers a couple weeks ago, and about 3/4 of the way through building the schedule. Got a few changes I want to make to our procedures to help get some better control on things. Got some more supplies. Too terribly exciting. Lots of prop emails, more than I could ever want.
How many of them are answered by the existing policies?
of them.
I'd say about 98% of them.
Okay.
Are just like, hey, read the policy. Slowly getting the word out, so hopefully in the future, regardless of everything, we should have people, generally should have a better understanding of how our props work. I can't really think much else past that.
Okay. Shoot, dealer's done.
The dealer den list is live. It's pretty neat. You can search through it, organize it by categories, so pretty cool. As far as what needs to be done, table layout, table assignments, and just scheduling staff. That's pretty much it.
I think you got enough people.
No.
Okay, well then you need to get in touch with Levi to get more people.
The answer is always.
Touch.
No will be a more comforting answer than
And Abe, you said on that same subject, I think you said while you were talking that you already reached out to a few of the other people that in their applications indicated interest.
Yeah, I think when you and I were going over the housekeeping system, you gave me a list of 6.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately for like leads, unless like myself or Levi that has access to the entire volunteer list, for the time being, you can't tease apart who is still truly unassigned and who is assigned to someone else. And so I was able to give Abe that list of who is left for their department that isn't assigned to anywhere that he could reach out to. But I guess either Levi or myself could generate that information for anybody else, right?
Yeah.
In the time being, until they fix the system and make it so you can self-serve that information.
Yes.
Sierra.
Alright, IT is coming along. As for what's currently done, gone through everything. Dealer's Den security system is going to be done tomorrow. I wanted it to be done by today. Some stuff came up. But at this point, all it is the tedium of making sure that I've got IP configured on the router and the different cameras,
Okay.
since they're supposed to be static. Otherwise, it's ready. It just needs to have that done and get re-binned. Speaking of bins, Christoph Cannon is going to be handling updating and otherwise going over all of the different laptops and stuff. So if you could get whatever you have in storage, I'll be meeting up with you and getting whatever miscellaneous ones wound up in my house, so that in addition to getting them all up to date, we can also consolidate them. I think there are a total of 4 machines. That's 2 CF19s, a Lenovo, and a Dell. And in fact, I think one of them was actually a donation from Alex over here, and we still need to replace the hard drive in addition to, or we could just format it. Either way.
I have assloads of SSDs at work that
Excellent.
are just junk. So
Yeah, excellent.
Are,
But that's
that we don't need anymore.
where we're at. We're very close. I just need some material assets to get over to Canon so that he can handle making sure that all of those assets are ready for convention use. The more complicated systems were a bit of an adventure this year, but they're getting wrapped up. So with us basically at the finish line with getting some of that stuff ready, I'm going to stress again, if you need anything, please let us know. We have lots of tools for you, and we would like you to be able to use them. Otherwise, they just get dusty. But that should about wrap it up for IT.
For HR, pretty much I have the volunteer manager schedule is pretty much wrapped up. Just a matter of putting people in places and getting preferences. I also have my second who is also helping me with that. Gophers, we're waiting to schedule and create a schedule until we pretty much have, we're going to go over the rest of them this week and see how many of them go to Gophers. The Gopher manual, how to Gopher, is done. It is out and uploaded to the instructions.
Good, thank you.
Doing the same for the volunteer manager as well. And aside from that, all we really need to do is just approve the remaining applications, schedule them, and some miscellaneous things, and we're good to go.
And you just mentioned instructions. I guess I should remind as well that mostly every department has an instructions document that has at least been created. You may or may not have access to it if you are a lead. If you do have access to it, great. If you don't have access to it, Sierra can give you access, or I can give you access, or I think Shoot can do it too, but go for Sierra first because that's her responsibility. To assign you to that particular Google Doc. There's an entire folder of instructions that's available for everybody to read, and each individual department's instructions is supposed to be editable by that department's lead, so that that department can add instructions for volunteers to be able to read and understand more about how that department works. Quite a few of them are still completely dead blank. So...
Since it was brought up, yes, I'm here to get you access to anything we have in Google Docs, which may or may not be useful to you depending on the department, but it is also far from too late to make sure that you or somebody in your department who needs it has either access to Slack or an email account or both. In fact, I just took a request from Morse earlier today. We want to get those to you as soon as possible if that's something that's useful to you. If you're already in Slack, you can submit a request to me there. If all you're in is even just the break room in Telegram, you can message me there. Otherwise, reach out to whoever your point of contact is. You should be able to get in touch with me or Canon in my department so that we can get those accounts for you. Information is good. Access to information is better.
I think we learned last year that Telegram could be a bit iffy during the weekend.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That is why.
Beyond Slack.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever redundancy you can have. So in addition to Telegram, having Slack, a proponent of, at least in your department, with someone you need contact with. If you're a small enough group and you trust them, being able to text message each other can be great. Just that way you're on the cell tower instead of the Wi-Fi. We're doing our best to work with the network, but there's only so much we can do about it.
5,000 nerds will bring any network to its knees.
Absolutely.
That's just that simple. Period.
Email even, just because it sits in a queue and it will eventually get through. I mean, that goes the same for a Telegram message as well. It's just one of those, whatever redundancy you can have in communication is great. So I am more than happy to get you set up with Slack and email so that we have as many avenues of communication as possible going into the event.
Yep. Lyle, do you remember why Telegram had problems during the convention? Was it actually just Telegram, or was it just because the Wi-Fi in this building was just way too overloaded?
The chatter I saw in my own experience was just Telegram.
That actually was just Telegram that was having a fit?
If I may, it might have something to do with the fact that it seems Telegram, rather than queuing individual messages for you, will occasionally try to sync. So depending on the number of chats that you're in and the number of messages you have gotten, it could be trying to sync quite a lot, and it doesn't usually like to give you anything you've received until it's finished syncing, which is, so going back to like Slack will load messages more incrementally, and email definitely comes in a queue, so they will load individually as they come rather than syncing in bulk.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of relief last year from recommending that people turn off all automatic media downloading in Telegram.
Yeah, I know some individuals said that helped them.
And yeah, if enough people at the convention do that, then it just reduces the load overall and hopefully helps everything work better.
Maybe we can get a point to get word out on that ahead of time.
Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, social media plug.
The Telegram announcement channel will be a perfect place to do that, because everybody who receives that message has a Telegram account. Okay, next up is nobody. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nobody else down that way is in lead? No. Okay. Okay. Moving on to the next thing. Anything that you guys want mentioned in opening or closing ceremonies? I'm working on writing my opening and closing ceremonies talking points right now. So if you guys have more stuff that you would like mentioned during opening and closing ceremonies, I would be happy to see it.
I'll start. Just basically, with now we have crowd control. We have people doing crowd control this year. Please gently persuade them to use the spa level.
Okay, so specifically in regard to elevators.
Yes.
Okay.
We may or may not leave it, of course, up to you. Just explain that we are going to have people helping with elevator queues.
Okay.
Let's not overextend what we're gonna do there. I agree we should do that, but let's not like go into too many details of
Yeah.
what we're gonna do, because like this is the first year we're doing it, so it might not do every facet that you suggest.
Oh, yeah, we know it's a
maybe
try.
just like be vague and say like we're going to do our best to help.
Okay.
The
Yeah, I think-
elevator queues.
But as far as opening ceremonies is concerned, basically all I'm going to say is like we'll have lines for when there are lines for the elevators downstairs, we will when we are able, we will pick people off and escort them over to service elevators.
I would almost say even more vague than that, but that's just my suggestion.
So,
It gives us room to be a little fluid in our execution.
Exactly.
well, it is important. I think it's important to tell people that. I think it will be important to tell people that you cannot use the service elevators unless you are being escorted by one of our staff. That would be an important point to touch on, for sure. So.
Agreed.
But yeah, I already have something half written for that in my opening ceremonies notes, I believe.
Okay.
So.
If I recall, if someone decides to invite themselves and use them, they're at the hotel's mercy.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
It's not step in on their
Yep.
Use the grants here, and the grants between our staff badges and not volunteer badges.
Yes.
Okay.
We get that to them.
Because last year we had some confusion on that.
It can depend. It also depends. They have to disseminate that information. If it escalates to security, security has all the documentation. As for individual people with the hotel, it depends on like whether this is their first shift since 4 days ago and nobody's told them yet. But it's my understanding we're doing everything we can to inform the hotel so they can inform the staff.
Okay. Additional and this is anything. It doesn't have to be a safety thing. It's just if you want to shout out for something, if you want to draw more attention to something your particular department is doing, anything like that you'd like mentioned in opening ceremonies, please let me know.
Are we doing anything tasteful to memorialize Dog Bomb?
In closing, yes.
Okay, in closing ceremonies.
Actually, to touch on that, I believe somebody's holding a memorial panel on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that got added recently.
Yes. Yeah, Sunday at 3 p.m. there is somebody holding an hour-long remembrance
Okay.
for him.
Okay. I would probably need to ask the person organizing that whether or not they want that much attention drawn to it. So.
Okay.
Okay, next. Anything else?
I assume we're shamelessly plugging the theme in there already, right?
There's a little bit in there, but I need more material from you guys to really plug the theme in a themed way.
Okay.
So.
You gonna share the document with us?
But yes, I would love to do more to help plug the theme, for sure.
Might not hurt for opening ceremonies to also briefly go over the prop policies about where and what is acceptable.
I think I already have that in there, but I'll double check. And this is meant to be kind of a brainstorming session of anything else that needs to be talked about in opening ceremonies. So feel free to speak up even if you think it's not necessarily something that belongs in opening, it might remind you of something else that does. I don't think I mentioned much of anything about the art gallery, except for the wine and cheese social. I think that is mentioned in opening ceremonies, but that's it. Oh.
Yeah, all the other events are set on the back of the badges, right, hours and things like that.
Mhm.
So no worries, the wine and cheese social, I will be emailing all of the participating artists this year so that they can come and talk about their works if they'd like. I think that's the shiniest thing we're doing.
Mhm. Right, the whole point there is supposed to be a meet and greet with the actual artists putting stuff on display.
Mentioning that if there is an official painting thing as part of the schedule, that could be useful information for those who are.
Yeah, I think I already have that in there too, but I'll make sure.
Are the odd hours on the pool party mentioned in opening ceremonies?
Mentioning not having a
I think
Saturday.
so, I'll double check.
Because I assume we're still not open late on Saturday for that, right?
Correct. We don't have a pool at all on Saturday. We do have the driving range though.
People can go to the pool on Saturday, but it's not just you can't.
Right, it's just not an exclusive party.
You can't swim in the driving range.
I mean, you could try.
You can. The only thing that's stopping you is your personal safety.
And an 8-foot fence.
Okay.
How much of a barrier is that really?
About
8 feet.
It's just and it's just a plain old chain link fence. It's, lots of people have been jumping over those for many a year now.
In person? Dude, be proactive. Get
Dude,
some
that
Boy
would be
Scouts.
hard.
Anyway, so that is one thing we're doing.
Getting stabbed.
In fact, I don't think I mentioned that at all. The golf driving range, we are trying an experiment this year, and it's just Saturday only, Saturday night. You can go hit balls for free, and
Let's not word it like that.
Please.
it's more fun when you word
I
it
think
like
it's
that.
more like that.
Buy a bucket of balls and take a club to them.
I don't know about your ball.
Though, actually, that does remind me, we should also mention that the masks on go-karts.
Yeah, I guess. I really didn't even want to bring it up during the opening ceremonies because it's just going to make a bunch of people upset again.
Well,
I'm not sure how people have not yet already gotten the word, but
do we want to make people upset when they get there, or do we want to make people upset
When they walk all the way down there.
Yeah.
Just have it be like turn the lights blue and get real sad.
Write that down.
To be honest, when they were allowing fursuiters in full suit to drive, I was actually kind of surprised.
Do we know somebody that plays violin?
It has to be a really small one.
In fact, the world's smallest.
Actually, on the subject of playing violin, we did get an offer this year from people from the Reno Video Game Symphony Orchestra to come play for a while.
Awesome.
So
what do they do for the soundtracks?
it's various video games up there in Liking. They also do an annual event here in Reno that's I think in June or July, right?
It's part of our town.
Yeah.
They do it during our town, so it must be during July then.
Yeah.
I think they use the Silver Legacy for it.
If you're talking about that event, nowadays I think they just do, they have a schedule of performances that they do. The event
Just
that
during
you're-
our town.
The event that you're thinking of is Game Expo, and they haven't done that for years.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, never mind. I was confused. But regardless, there's a group of folks that want to come and play some symphony music for us from video games, and we'll see how they do.
Do we have like stage space for them?
We do. Groggy has scheduled them for second stage, and I believe it's scheduled as people are lining. It's staggered, so like main and second stage are generally staggered. There's not usually an event happening on both at the same time. The symphony is scheduled to play during the time that people will be lining up in the ballroom for the dance competition.
Nice.
So it'll be Saturday, like 5 p.m. kind of range.
Oh, cool.
Saturday, 4 or 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One nodding.
Okay, that's pretty good.
And then they should be wrapping up right as people are heading into the dance con. And the charity D&D as well that I got roped into, and I think you got roped into, and maybe you got roped into, I hope. That is scheduled for Saturday at, I think, 1 p.m.
Oh, so
Start time.
that is set in stone now then?
That is set in stone.
Sweet.
You should mention that.
We were able to continue to, we were able to keep. It's already in my opening ceremony.
Do people here know what?
What is
What is the D&D character?
So this is something called charity D&D from another convention that they apparently get several convention chairs together. Normally when they do this, they get several convention chairs together and play just like some kind of campaign, some kind of quick campaign. And during that campaign, audience members can buy things, can donate money to charity to either give things to the players to help them or hurt them. And their MC's responsibility is to continue to keep the crowd whipped up and continuing to throw wrenches at the players until they, but not quite enough to end the campaign completely, of course.
Keep it going.
Just to make it very interesting. So this is something they've done for several years at other conventions as a charity fundraiser. Given our theme, they wanted to try to take that to another level and do it for us here. So
Sounds fun.
we'll see how that goes. What else? Anything?
I have one more thing. I swear this is the last one.
Doesn't have to be the last one.
For leads, if you have anybody in your department who is coming back from last year, recruits, and they need to be upgraded to staff, please reach out and either request them as staff. You can do so. There's a little star next to the departments. Or just let me know directly and I can pretty much upgrade them immediately. We really want to make sure that they are upgraded as soon as possible.
Oh, I thought the deadline was passed on that.
That's for the rooms. That's for the room.
Room com.
Yeah, room com.
Yeah, we still want to get those in as quickly as possible, and we want to know who has been staff in the past, who we do trust, who we do know we can rely on. I finally have a way of keeping track of that now in the reg system. There's a new role for that called staff alumni that we've been using. That's just purely a marker for our purposes.
But please get those to me. I do not want. I want people to get what they deserve.
Yeah. And this happens occasionally. If any of your volunteers are like, "Nah, don't worry about it. You don't have to make sure I get my rewards." Like, just kick them and be like, "No, we're going to give you what you deserve. Damn it!"
Exactly.
Don't do that. And try not to let your volunteers do that. You can only do so much, but try not to let them oh, I'll just pay for my own badge. It's fine. No, if you deserve to have your badge for free, then you get your badge for free. Don't let them do that.
If they're feeling extra selfless, tell them it's easier for us on the back end to track things if you take it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You don't end up wondering why we have something.
Help you.
Sure, that's a good trick.
I mean, just tell them we don't want to store it for the year, so.
Yep.
Just hold an angry picture of the cat.
Get your shit out of my.
Don't give them any nonsense about the meal vouchers either. You're going to eat. You're either going to eat food or you're going to eat the meal voucher.
Yeah, from what I understand, Tycho, that money's spent either way, so it's better they use it.
Yes. Not technically true, but yes. It's money we need to spend. But if you don't use every penny of your food voucher, it doesn't mean we lose money. It's just money that does need to get spent at some point or another in the weekend.
Okay.
And we hand out a little more food vouchers than what we really need to spend. So there's a little bit of buffer there. Because I know they don't get 100% utilization. And that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, then the next discussion topic I had here was one final brainstorming topic was other signage that we might need to make. So anybody who has a department that has other signage they think they might need that they may not have, please let me know now so that we can have enough time to get these signage made.
Can I get a, this is not registration, go downstairs?
So your sign says registration.
Yeah, that's, actually it would be this is not, and then it's like all the things.
Hawk, I'll trade you for a this is not ConOps. Please go upstairs.
Hey Hawk. At furthermore,
So you don't have to take that down.
at furthermore, there were no less than 3 rooms that were ops because you had panel ops, con ops,
Oh, God.
and
Oh, God.
some other ops I forget. So people would be like, "Where do I get my panel stuff?" And they go, "Oh, go to ops," instead of specializing like panel ops. So they come to us.
Wow, that's
It'd be like,
that's no good.
so
Please tell me it's changed.
yeah, don't do that. Clear signage.
By the way, Okami, we have a tentative yes from the hotel about putting a table in the hall out here for that. So.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember if we had one in previous years. Do we have like a sign that goes outside of registration during when we're closed that says we're open from this time to this time?
No, because that's new this year.
Oh, staff operations. That's right.
Oh,
It's good. It's good.
That's
Yep, we can do that. So we decided what we put on the website last year was it said registration is open during these hours. Outside these hours, go to ConOps. And then invariably, people just read the words ConOps, and so they just went to ConOps for registration, even when registration was open. So we have removed that from the website altogether, and I've gotten with Morrison that he agrees with me. It makes sense to just stick a sign on the door, a sign on the window at registration whenever it's closed that does say head upstairs to ConOps for late night registration, which will still run from the ConOps window. Hopefully that will reduce some of the confusion. What's
In case we have something like when that lady got married, can we have a please do not use this way to walk through?
okay? That's not a good. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Does the hotel have something like that?
I don't know if you know that.
It wouldn't
They
hurt
didn't
for us to have
provide
our own that we can just
Yeah.
bring up like that.
Oh, that's
And
fair.
sometimes the hotel is slow to figure stuff like that
Well,
out.
that's we gotta find out from the hotel what is planned for the weekend for other, especially the wedding chapel.
Yeah.
We definitely want to bring that up in the chat. I was like, yeah. Yeah, do let them know that there is an event of very strange people, and if they thought square dancers or something.
Are we expecting a wedding during?
I have no idea, but we're gonna find out.
I think I'm just going to come up with something more general that's like, this path is currently closed for a different event, please use an alternate route.
Perfect.
And then we can have that rolled up, ready to go, and if we need it, we just take it there, stand it up, and done.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, like what, 4 of
So
those?
then you can use it for other things.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Just have them on hand. That's a great thing to have. It would not hurt. Other ideas? Other signage that we were frequently found ourselves missing that we needed. Yema.
Well, this will be, I mentioned this earlier this year, but I don't know if it is still being worked on. Just more of those heat illness, the larger posters for the other lounges since it worked well last year. Because people are more likely to look at something that's big, colorful, and cute than look at a block of text.
Do you think we should do those as posters, or should we do them as roll-up banners that can stand freely on the floor?
On a
Roll-up
cost
banners are more
analysis,
expensive, but they're also more flexible. So I don't know what's.
I think the ones we can stick onto the walls are better.
Okay.
Hey, you can get them for free promotion.
Again, no blocks of
If
text.
you can give me some free ones promotion in addition to those, I will take them.
Okay. Got it. It's noted.
Did we ever get around to actually building out the signs? Some people suggested it was like basically a kindly worded costumes are not consent sign.
I don't think we have anything like that yet. No.
Yeah, because we had some pretty good pitches for ways to word that positively, and I think they're good signs to have if we can phrase it better than, never touch anyone or you're an awful person or whatever. Like, there are kind ways we could go about it because the message at its core is good. I just want to find a good way to word it.
Okay.
Actually, don't need a whole lot of them, but maybe just in like a lot of the hangout areas, a map.
Oh yeah, if we could get maps, that'd be great.
Oh god, you can even pattern it.
Yeah.
And I believe that Latte and Dex were able to do that last year, and they even had some little URL stickers to put on the maps wherever they hung them up.
Yeah, I saw them up at the Fursuit Festival, and a lot of people were there to the Fursuit Festival. But like having those up from the start would have been a lot more advantageous.
Yeah. If we could get like a bigger one, like right outside the grand ballroom, since that's like a good junction point, so people can be like, "Hey, I'm right here. Where am I going?"
Yeah. We did that last year. I'm going to make note of it so that we hopefully remember to do it again this year, and that we hopefully remember to do it for all spaces. I don't think we need them up here because this area has its own map and there's overhead signage that specifically tells you which road is in which direction. So you can probably skip it up here.
Is our schedule going to be up on the screen out there?
Hopefully, yes, because we actually have our panel schedule early enough that we can actually hand it to the hotel and they can post them on the site. So.
Sweet.
What about utilizing the screens above at Conreg to just indicate this is, would that help in some way?
Oh, to label the room?
I'll find out. I'll add that to my list of hotel questions.
Oh, that's a
write that down.
good thing for me. In rooms where we have, do we have Wi-Fi anywhere this year? Like I know we had registration Wi-Fi last year. Are we working on that? Don't talk about that. I know we don't talk about that. Yeah. So that's not a thing. We're not doing that.
You push that button first, and then we talk about it.
We'll talk about it later.
Along with signage, sorry, I don't know if this is super important or not known, but the Grand Sierra no longer has a business office. They sold that to FedEx, so now it's a FedEx office.
Oh, okay.
I've already talked to the manager there, just said that, make sure to stock up extra pens, paper, and all this stuff. And
I think if
we have a pretty good chance that there's plenty of people are going to possibly need to ship stuff.
Yep.
Especially, art things they bought, anything like that also.
Laminate
especially
things.
Like,
yeah, I was thinking that's
they might want something laminated, they might especially want something either printed, or they might need supplies. A lot of times people are going to want supplies.
Yeah.
And actually the fact that we have that FedEx office there is probably a good thing, because if we find ourselves needing to do some kind of emergency large format printing, that FedEx office probably can do it for us, whereas the hotel really never had the capability to do that for us on short notice. They would print signage for us if we asked for it, as long as we gave them plenty of notice, but if it's short notice, they had no way to do it.
Yeah, they've got pretty standard stuff there, but I think they actually do have like their own large plotter printer too, so they can.
Yeah, I think they do have a large format printer down there.
If not, there's the one that's over, it used to be off California where they were doing the sign printing, but they do have the one over off of Virginia Street. So they should be able to take orders and get print there and then back over. That's what my job was.
Going on Virginia.
I also just made a reminder to print up directional signage to put on easels in the hotel hallways. Any time that we can put signage up high is better, but we don't really have a lot of capability to do that most of the time, unfortunately.
Oh.
But whenever we can, we like to try and do that because it makes it so people will still see it even from across the room instead of only when you're in. Yes, Woods?
Can we get big signage for second stage and main stage if we don't already have it? Because I don't think we had it last
I
year.
think we have roll-up banners for that, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's been a problem in the past, but for the fursuit lounge that runs during the dance that's next to the stage, we haven't had it in the past. Do we have any intention of like getting a sign that's lit? I don't necessarily mean like the art show arrow, but something a little
Art
more
show
clear
arrow.
to people dancing. Usually they figure it out within a certain amount of time, but I'd rather it be more apparent than just like people figuring it out.
Maybe a couple of those lanterns that we did, okay?
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
One of those
Yeah.
Hollywood box ones too could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might even be able to repurpose those to make like a sign that looks like it says Fursuit Lounge, but it's flaming. Or it's usually flaming.
Well, there'll be a lot of that there already, I'm sure.
I may get back to you on this, but I may need 1 or 2 more signs to designate fursuit lounges. I'm gonna talk to my staff in Cade, see how many I actually have, because I think last year I was either short one or reusing like 2 really old beat up like burlap sack. Kinda.
Oh, the canvas ones.
Yeah.
Those.
You monster!
So I'm
They're just
probably
weathered,
have to-
Cody. It's not your craft station. It's just weathered.
I might have had to retrieve one from somebody who thought it was a cave.
sounds like he likes your banners about as much as you like my light right.
Speaking of which, is that coming back this year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But we do need to replace the back elastic.
After this year for sure.
Yeah.
It's already pretty
It
worn out.
also,
and it's,
we really kind of need to redesign it anyway, because
yeah.
the problem is the wood got exposed to too much moisture and it's distorted and half the peg spots don't.
no, it
fit.
got exposed to the sun and it delaminated.
You got exposed.
Oh.
You got
That's
exposed for
what somebody left it in the sun for like a half an hour.
Because it's
and,
a princess.
and that black plastic expanded and delaminated itself from the wood.
Wow.
And what we need to do is I basically just make it out of a sheet of dark plastic and then, well, then it'll be like.
Or wood,
getting
and you
into-
just
No, stop talking about this. It's like a layout discussion.
Signage. Back to signage.
Any other signage?
Silence, do not.
Protest signs for the light right.
All you.
If all signage is light brights, it means all signage can be changed by the attendees.
Yes.
Actually, on that subject of signage, Abe, is there anything you guys can use for video gaming? Anything additional? Talking about like maybe a sign that says tournament signups here.
Yeah, that's,
Or-
so we were thinking of like a staff area signage that would display that, hey, you can sign up for tournaments or check out games or check out controllers over here. Other than that, like, there's nothing really big.
Actually, do you think tabletop might need something like
A
that?
single banner would help, that's
Yeah.
all. A lot of people are confused as to like where they sign up for tournaments and whatnot, so, something big that catches the eye would like, make things go smoothly.
Okay, got it. I've noted tournament signups here, staff only be on this point, and check out controllers and ask for game changes.
Yep, thank you.
Anything else? Levi, you got enough? You have volunteer desk, right?
I'm thinking maybe this might be something I can do myself, just with like an acrylic sign holder or something. Just volunteers sign in here.
Oh, yeah, sign
We'll
for
do that as a
your
roll
kiosks.
banner. Yeah. Probably. Or maybe something we can attach to whatever Chromebook or computer or something we leave on there.
Yeah.
That might work too. Okay.
Make their badge status cursed. The only way to undo the curse is to actually sign up. or log in so you can track your hours.
I also wanted to briefly ask if there's anybody here who would be interested in helping run a small AtCon activity that I'd like to do that would push the theme.
Depends on the time.
Yeah, well,
What activity is that, dude?
are you not being specific because the
No.
microphone's on?
No,
or-
no. Would you be willing to explain that more thoroughly, like what those things are?
So basically, it would be teaching people how to make lace.
What? Lace? Like
Wait, LEI.
The flower necklaces.
So it's something from the story. It's similar to a Hawaiian lei, except instead of being made out of flowers, it's made out of autumn leaves.
Oh.
And
Damn, because I was
they
just
look really
at
neat.
an
And
estate sale.
I would like to give our attendees an opportunity to make one for themselves and take it home.
So that they get laid
It
themselves.
turns out the fabric leaves are dirt cheap.
You're supposed
So-
to give it to your loved one.
And yes, that's in the story. You're supposed to give it to somebody who means a lot to you. So I wanted to see if anybody was interested in helping us run just in open con space somewhere in the middle of the con. It doesn't have to be that we can decide a time and schedule it, but like to have the supplies and tell people a little bit about the particular thing itself and what it means, and here's some instructions on how to make one, which is stab a leaf, stab a bead, stab a leaf, stab a bead on the needle, and you're done. So, do you want to do it, Ema? Okay.
I'm down.
I think a good initiative would be like, hey, get late tonight.
My department at one with break fix and 3 people should be really quiet. So
Two of you?
yeah.
Okay.
Mike, are you going to bring some first repair supplies again?
Pursuit repair supplies.
Like a sewing machine, basic sewing machine, glue gun, bunch of thread.
That's all gonna be in the lounges, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be in the main one.
Yeah, that'll be in the main lounge. That's something I often forget to do, is to get my sewing machine pulled out, my kind of crappy one that I don't care too much about anymore.
Oopsie.
So, Sierra and Nina, I'll have to get with you two about what time sounds best for making one of those, read things. Probably right after the charity D&D, I would expect would be really good. Right
Yeah.
after Saturday.
Saturday sometime.
Right, because we might even be able to add that into the session itself. Have one that's already made, and then include that into the session. Okay, other questions?
So those are already.
No other questions? Anybody? Nothing?
Doesn't seem like
Nothing else in the chat?
Any updates regarding the last item on the agenda? Traditional 10 a.m.
On the discussion topic? Wait, what's the last item? That's what I was just asking about. Was
Well, I'd like to mention one more thing, if I could get everybody's attention.
Yo!
I just want to mention one more thing. No, just so the worst thing that has ever happened with staff is that people start to fail and they don't say anything. So if you don't hear from your superior, if you don't get scheduled, if you don't hear from your volunteers, no one's going to know unless you say something. And we've helped people several times right before con. It's not like we call you out or anything. Just, please speak to the right person when stuff's going kind of sideways. Okay? There's nothing wrong. If you don't have something done, please just say something, because we can pivot, we can put people on it. But the worst thing you can do is not say something. Okay? The other thing is, does everybody know about the hotel and how to get your comp? That is the most important comp. Does anybody not know how to get it? No, your name has to be on the room. That is the most important thing.
Yeah, they will not let us do paper vouchers anymore this year for hotel comps.
What's the deadline?
Which?
So it has to be your actual name. You can't rent it as Shower rooms, you have to have it as.
No, your
to be
name has
done.
to be on there as a billable party.
Right, so.
Yeah, well, that's how mine is.
We were supposed to have already given the hotel the list of names now. They haven't been asking me for it yet, so I'm holding off until they say they need it. But we have to give them a list of names of whose rooms to comp and to knock a night off of each. I basically give them a great big list of names that says knock a night off of each of these people's rooms. And that's the only way that staff are able to get a free room night for being staff.
But it's twofold too. You have to make sure your name is on the room.
Correct.
Okay?
If they can't
if
find
anybody
you, you
is-
can't get it.
If anybody has confusion about that, please tell them your name has to be on your room. That's what you have to do. You telling us your name does not mean you get your room for free.
And they
Sorry.
put their name on by
Day
going
off.
to their confirmation and editing their reservation to add it.
Correct.
Right. So like if you have 4 staff members in your room, all 4 got to be on the room, or it ain't gonna happen. So that's really serious because we would feel awful if you guys worked your asses off and then didn't get this comp.
Correct.
So please spread the word on that. The other thing with these last minute questions, I know a lot of people are in the staff chat. Do not ask questions in there. Find the appropriate person. If you have like an HR question, ask HR. If you have a weapons question, send ConOps.
Stolen props.
Sorry. Try to find the appropriate person. And so this is even right before con, a lot of things get a little crazy. And then at con too. So keep this in mind. Don't just ask Tycho questions at con or in the break room. Find the appropriate person. Okay? Either if you are a recruit, ask the person that's your lead. If you're a lead, find the person that's above you. If you don't know who to contact, like contact somebody. But just don't put it out there like just to anybody. Okay? And that's all I wanted to make sure you know. Just find the right person to contact.
Actually, an addendum to that, if you don't know who to contact, come to ops and I can direct you guys to the right person.
Yeah. That's what ops does for all the attendees, so
That's
that's
what
what
cops
the staff too. Right?
Oh, I've been doing it for years, so let's help now.
And when you say don't ask typo questions, does that include asking him if he's eating?
If it's for his own well-being, absolutely.
When's the last time you had
an
a
actual
meeting?
About an hour ago.
From now on, that should be your greeting.
Hi Tycho, I love you. Have you eaten?
Like everybody's gonna be like that fretting grandmother that's just like, oh, you're too skinny.
I say we'll just always have some.
Well, I mean that's what Joey's mom keeps saying to him.
Yeah. Have you eaten? Have you eaten?
It's like it's such a Filipino thing, isn't it?
We'll issue everybody energy bars at the beginning of the con. See Tycho just offered.
Tycho's wearing a Leia of energy bar.
Actually, that's a very helpful